Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening returned the series to form following its appalling predecessor, selling 1.3 million copies, receiving overwhelming praise from many gaming outlets, and ensuring the series' future was no longer in jeopardy. Naturally, a sequel was greenlit, but Capcom were unsure where to go next in terms of innovation. Plus, the 7th-gen consoles, i.e. the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, meant their next release would be on those systems, thus opening the door for new players to experience what this IP had to offer, specifically those on the former platform. Hideaki Itsuno would direct yet again, and, along with his colleagues, decided to feature a new protagonist, considering Itsuno believed he did enough with Dante, although this would be false as you'll see later. Anyway, a new main character motivated the team, even though there were concerns about this backfiring. Nevertheless, Capcom continued development, until in January 2008, Devil May Cry 4 was released to critical and financial acclaim. Sadly, it's also gone on record for being a rushed, unfinished product, and after doing my playthrough, it wasn't hard to discern why.
How much could he really know?
Set on the island of Fortuna, protagonist Nero, a member of the Order of the Sword, arrives late to their gathering who worship the legendary Dark Knight Sparta. Upon arrival, he gives a gift to his love interest, Kyrie, despite missing her performance due to dealing with demons. However, before the congregation reaches its conclusion, Dante crashes in and kills the Order's leader, Lord Sanctus, causing all hell to break loose. Nero responds against the aggressor, but fails to stop him, and now there are more fiends causing chaos outside. As all civilians, including Kyrie, evacuate, Nero must eradicate all demon aggression and apprehend Dante for Sanctus' murder. For better or worse, Devil May Cry 4 plays identical to its predecessor, but it doesn't mean Capcom didn't make alterations. First and foremost, Nero is the main selling point, designed to ease players into the series' stylish combat. Nero's primary weapon, Red Queen, functions similar to Dante's Rebellion, and new moves are purchasable just like before. However, Red Queen's distinct feature is Exceed, allowing him to rev it like a motorcycle, which, if timed correctly, amplifies his attacks. It holds up to 3 charges, and although Nero can refill Red Queen at any point, Exceed is best used during fights. His firearm, Blue Rose, isn't as interesting beyond being a double-barrel revolver, though is still ideal for keeping fiends afar, or as a means of juggling them during combos, not to mention you can charge shots before firing. These 2 weapons are fine and dandy, but what elevates the gameplay loop is his demonic arm, Devilbringer, able to grapple foes within range, with varying buster animations depending on the enemy type. As you progress, further enhancements expand its utility, like manipulating objects or pulling enemies towards him. Therefore, Nero can keep combos going, more than Dante could in past adventures, illustrating how DMC4 was catering to newcomers. That is not to say enemies are a walkover, though executing consecutive moves to end with Devilbringer does leave a smile on your face. It even works on bosses, provided they're stunned first, but still no less fulfilling, especially when Devil Trigger is active. He doesn't morph into a demon physically, though nonetheless functions similar to previous entries. Nero is a fun character, but unfortunately he suffers from a lack of variety, so by the time you reach mission 7, you've experienced all he has to offer. Besides, he's not the only one you control across DMC4's 20 missions.
So, you're looking to play, huh? Alright, I guess I got some time to kill.
Dante performs identical to his DMC3 counterpart, though his tweaks have strengthened his skill set. Rebellion plus Ebony and Ivory are his primary weapons, but he also has a sawed-off shotgun at the ready, unlike in past games where you would find it in the levels. What hasn't changed is beating bosses grants him new weapons. 2 are unique to this game, those being Pandora and Lucifer, while Gilgamesh is a rework of Beowulf from DMC3. Also, like in DMC3, he can switch from each one during battle, but now Dante has full access to his entire arsenal. The style system makes a comeback, now with the ability to alter between all 4 at any point. Sadly, Quicksilver plus Doppelganger don't return, but being able to change styles in battle greatly enhances his options, and of course, he has Devil Trigger. If Nero is all about accessibility, then Dante is all about flexibility, and both function fine in terms of controls. The problem is Dante's sections are just Nero's levels in reverse, encountering the same enemies with a few exceptions. It couldn't be any more evident when refighting many of DMC4's bosses, not least because they're in the same location and still use the same attacks. Those that don't repeat like Credo are well designed and are satisfying to beat, but on the flip side, there's an opponent where, I'm not joking, you're fighting a window. I will say, however, DMC4 holds up brilliantly as far as graphics are concerned, even if the footage here is from the special edition, though the original was just as impressive. Still, backpedaling through familiar territory also illustrates Capcom's strict budget and development cycle, something Itsuno would eventually disclose in a 2019 interview. Furthermore, the linear level design makes the minimap nugatory, notwithstanding that you don't have to pause the action to see where you're going. As I mentioned, Dante acquires weapons from bosses, and whilst they are satisfying to use, the quantity is scaled back compared to DMC3, and they have no connection with the opposition. For instance, how does Pandora, a suitcase capable of firing different projectiles, have any relation to a demonic toad? Moreover, given Dante's supporting role, they don't have a narrative impact, as obtaining new weapons or abilities before was not only rewarding, but they complemented the idea he was getting more powerful to beat his brother Virgil. Here that is not the case, and if boss rematches were bad enough as Dante, once Nero becomes playable by mission 19, you have to beat them again in a boss rush which is just padding, interspersed by the infamous dice game puzzle. Granted, hitting what number the dice displays determines how many spaces the statue moves, thus navigating across its coloured circles, all having different effects, isn't luck based. But it's unlikely someone would know this instinctively, simply because that's not how a dice works, thus wasting valuable time despite the puzzle being in 2 levels. For the most part, DMC4's enemies are decent, but not every foe is fun to fight. While scarecrows provide combo opportunities, chimeras and the habit of flailing their sharp tentacles with no wind-up animation is enough to rub you the wrong way. I also don't like DMC4 using 2 currencies, with red orbs buying items, whereas Proud Souls purchase new skills and upgrade weapons. This change comes off as arbitrary, because there was nothing wrong with a single currency system in past games. Furthermore, the digital release used for this review gives you a copious amount of Proud Souls and red orbs right at the start, resulting in either buying upgrades in bulk or enhancing both avatars at a gradual yet artificial rate. Regardless, it de-emphasizes being stylish, as the appeal of Devil May Cry is getting high ranks, thereby affecting how much you get upon completing missions. DMC4 exacerbates things when your avatar dies, because it gives you a portion of Proud Souls for no logical reason. Before I move on, the special edition includes 3 other characters, Virgil and Trish showing up again, and Lady being playable for the first time. Although these characters provide replay value, they don't gainsay its issues, whether you're doing a second playthrough or messing around in Bloody Palace. Story-wise, DMC4 is a downgrade, which is a shame seeing Bingo Morihashi, who co-wrote the excellent DMC3, was the sole writer for this installment. Nero being pushed aside halfway through, just for Dante to take over, robs him of a proper character arc, and even so, plot points like his connection with Sparta, plus his relationship with Kyrie, who only serves as a damsel in distress, are never fleshed out. Nero is just a lesser version of the legendary Demon Hunter, and whilst this makes sense when juxtaposed with Dante's experience, his character leaves much to be desired. Dante becoming a mentor figure is intriguing in terms of characterization, and being a pseudo-antagonist early on is a clever way of establishing mystique and hostility against the young protagonist. But since DMC4's story structure isn't well thought out, their conflict isn't as riveting, unlike when the sons of Sparta fought each other during their youth. Furthermore, Dante's motivation is bland compared to his journey in the last game, made worse by the pacing taking a nosedive in the second half, assuaging any sense of urgency and menace caused by Sanctus, who's the game's main villain. Lady and Trish return again, though their involvement in the story is underwhelming. The former provides exposition as a cameo, whereas Trish gathers intel from the Order as Gloria. However, it's a hard pill to swallow when they don't know who Trish is, and they don't raise an eyebrow with her conspicuous attire. Except for Credo, who says she's a stranger to us all, yet how Sanctus' demonic resurrection didn't raise red flags to him is confusing. Anyway, besides exchanging dialogue with Dante, other activities Trish does happen off screen. The other players are Agnes, an obsessed scientist who researches demonic power whilst having a habit of stuttering, and Credo, a respected general of the Order and Kyrie's sibling. That said, DMC4's voice acting is impressive, including Johnny on Bosch's performance as Nero, even if what he and others had to work with wasn't great and isn't helped by some dodgy sound mixing, making it difficult to hear what characters are saying. Despite this, the music in previous releases was excellent, and DMC4 is no exception. Ultimately, Devil May Cry 4 needed more development, as it's a game of two halves, though that's easier said than done when a studio is working within unpropitious conditions. And it's disappointing because there are things DMC4 does well, but taking everything into account, including being a sequel to the best game in the series at that point, it's inquisitive what the title would have been if Capcom had more time and a bigger budget. Needless to say, Devil May Cry 4 has some positives, though the overall experience isn't too surprising.